Oh, what a mess.
This is Neil Schneider from Meant to Be Seen. Welcome back to my messy basement. So the last few episodes of the series, I've been very focused on the PC and making the PC the ultimate home entertainment system. So when I'm talking about home entertainment, I'm talking about movies, I'm talking about Blu-ray, I'm talking about games, and of course, I'm talking about streaming, like Disney Plus and Apple TV, Netflix, you name it. Had a lot of success, with the exception of streaming. It just so happens that, unfortunately, that the content providers don't support the PC the way they support other solutions. So the way around the problem was to get a streaming stick for my home entertainment system. And there's different brands, but the thing is, even though the different streaming sticks market themselves in very much the same way, in practice, they support the features a little bit differently. Okay, so I'll give you an example. If Dolby Atmos is important to you, and Dolby Atmos is like the latest generation of surround sound, so that's really important to me, what I found is that the content providers supported Dolby Atmos differently depending on the stick that you were using. So in many cases, the streaming sticks may only support one or two content providers at a time, and not the same content providers. Or if they did support Dolby Atmos, they would support it at only a 4K resolution. So depending on the stick that you selected, that could very well determine how well your home entertainment system would work. So in the previous episode, I reviewed the leading brands and sticks. So in particular, I reviewed the Roku Streaming Stick Plus, the 4K edition, the Chromecast with Google TV, so that's a Google solution, and the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K edition. All excellent products. Review the previous episode and you'll be able to figure out which product is right for you. Now the thing is, each of these sticks it usually goes for about $50 a piece. And there was one solution though, one solution that we acknowledged but we didn't go into great detail, and that solution was the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. And the reason why I didn't go into great detail on this, even though I spoke very highly of it, is that whereas the other streaming sticks are about $50 a piece, this is $259 US, or about $210 more than the other solutions, give or take. So, but the thing is, I think that this is significantly more than a streaming stick. So I decided to give it its own dedicated product review on Neil's Messy Basement, and we've got plenty to cover. And spoiler alert, I really like this unit. Okay, it comes highly recommended, and in this episode, you're going to see why. So let me open up with the obvious. It supports all the leading content vendors. So Disney Plus, Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, and more, all supported by the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. From a specification point of view, it will support resolutions anywhere from 720p all the way up to 4K high dynamic range. If you have an HDR display, okay, the most basic standard is HDR10, which all the streaming sticks support. The Nvidia Shield TV Pro also supports Dolby Vision, which is the latest generation of HDR technology. From a surround sound point of view, it will support Dolby 5.1, also Dolby Digital 5.1, and it does support Dolby Atmos, thank goodness, with a caveat, which I'll go into a little bit later. It has ARC support, so ARC support speaks to how you can connect it directly to your display and link to your audio receiver or your surround sound system. I won't go into all the fine details, but the point is it could help you cut down on the wires and how your setup is connected. It has Wi-Fi connectivity, so it is a wireless device. However, it also has a 1 gigabit per second Ethernet connection. And that is very important if you have the need to do a wired network connection. This could do it, and it is very important for reasons I'll go into a little bit later, especially for the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. Something that's a really nice add is it has 2 USB 3 ports. So this is great for connecting your peripherals like game controllers and keyboards and hubs. And also storage, which is important for, which I'll go into a little bit later. Speaking of storage, it does come with 16 gigabytes of storage available to you built in. It has Bluetooth connectivity, and this is an Android 9 device. Though they could update the OS. But right now it's Android 9. So what stands out? Okay, I mean, that's a wonderful list of specifications I just shared with you, but what makes the Nvidia Shield TV Pro unique? Well, I spoke earlier about, in the previous episode, I talked about Plex. And Plex is if you have access to a Plex server, you could store your movies, your home videos, your pictures, your content. You could store it on a Plex server. It could be hosted locally on a cloud device. And with your streaming stick, you could connect to your Plex server and display your content on whichever display you want, or whichever your streaming stick is connected to. Well, what makes the Nvidia Shield TV Pro very cool is the actual Shield TV could be a Plex server, which means that you could take that 16 gigabytes of storage, or you could connect an external storage device, and this could be your cloud Plex server. So all your displays and all your mobile devices and so on can connect to your Shield TV, and you could get your content directly from the Shield, which I think is very cool. This has an Nvidia Tegra X1 processor built in, so it is the highest performing streaming solution that I have seen so far. It has a really cool feature. If you have a 4K display and you have 1080p content, with the magic of artificial intelligence, it can upscale your 1080p content to 4K and look good doing it. Okay? So there are samples of this on the internet. Try it out for yourself. Really cool stuff. Something I really like is it has a Google Assistant built in. So this is the remote control. I could talk into the remote control, and through my speakers, I will hear the Google Assistant, and I could ask Google to look up content, choose what content I have from different providers, the whole thing. Really, really helpful stuff. It has Google Chromecast built in. So this is really cool. So if I have a mobile device, or I'm looking at something on a PC, whatever the case may be, I could put the request through that content gets displayed on my Nvidia Shield TV, or wherever my Nvidia Shield TV Pro is connected to. So that's a really useful feature. And something I really like, very important to me, I mentioned about Dolby Atmos. By far, the Nvidia Shield TV Pro supports the most Dolby Atmos content of all the streaming sticks, with the exception, maybe, of the Chromecast with Google TV. Okay, they might be about equal there. Now, let's go into some other basics here. So this is the remote control for the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. In my opinion, this is the most advanced of the remote controls available for a streaming solution. So why is it so advanced? Well, first off, I have a projection set up here. The room is dark, hard to see the buttons. When you pick the remote control up, it lights up. You can see all the individual buttons. Something I really like is if your remote control, you can't find it, 2 things. First, you could use your smartphone with the Nvidia app as the remote control for the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. So if you don't have the remote control around you, in a pinch, you could just use your smartphone to control the device. And it has a feature that through this mobile app, you could have it find the remote control for you, that it will beep, and you'll hear it beeping under a pillow, and lo and behold, you'll have your Nvidia Shield TV Pro remote control working for you again. The only caveat I found with the remote is, well, it's somewhat narrow. It feels fine. It feels great in the hand, but there's just 2 vertical rows of buttons. I'm used to, a scenario where you've got 3 buttons, so it's 3 buttons across. So that's good for like fast forward, rewind, play, pause. Very intuitive. In this case, because it's just 2 buttons or 2 columns of buttons, I had to it took a bit of a learning curve to figure out, to naturally place my fingers and press the right buttons to do what I want. Wasn't a big deal, okay, but there was a bit of a learning curve to get used to this layout of buttons. Now, as far as the Nvidia Shield TV Pro user interface, it was easy for me to understand and to find things. And again, I can't speak highly enough of the Google Assistant. That was a really nice touch to be able to pull up content from the right content provider, or look things up on the internet. Or in my case, I could control my home. I've got a smart home, and I could do it all from the Google Assistant, which is built into the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. From an applications point of view, it's based on the Google ecosystem. So there are many apps to choose from in the Google Store. If you're into gaming through your streaming stick, so in the last episode I highlighted Google Stadia, which is a very formidable service that worked well on the Chromecast with Google TV. In the case of the Nvidia Shield TV Pro, it will run Google Stadia, and it will run Nvidia's GeForce Now platform as well. So you get some wonderful options on the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. And there are some unique applications to the Nvidia Shield TV that you get access to as well. I keep highlighting Dolby Atmos. It's important to me because I have a Dolby Atmos setup, and if you're going to invest in a Dolby Atmos setup to get that superior audio experience, you're going to want the content to support it. Otherwise, that money gets thrown out. So I am really happy with the Nvidia Shield TV Pro because, with the exception of the Chromecast with Google TV, which I think they're pretty much matched punch for punch, the Nvidia Shield TV Pro supports the most content providers as far as Dolby Atmos is concerned. I was able to get Disney Plus for working with Dolby Atmos. The only limitation is you have to have 4K HDR with Disney Plus. Otherwise, you'll get a 5.1 surround sound experience. Netflix worked with Dolby Atmos with all resolutions, as did Apple TV. And I'm sure that many other content providers support Dolby Atmos through the Nvidia Shield TV Pro as well. But again, this is something I was very happy about. Now, I highlighted Plex. Okay, so I brought up earlier that the Nvidia Shield TV Pro not only can it connect to Plex, but it could be its own Plex server. And this is really well designed to do this in more than one way. So first off, I mentioned that it's got 2 USB 3.0 connector ports. So you can connect external hard drives. Okay, so you have, it comes with 16 gigabytes of memory built in, but honestly, that's not going to get you very far. But if you connect an external hard drive, you could set it up to be a Plex server that, again, all the other streaming sticks or your other solutions in your home can connect to your Nvidia Shield TV Pro, and you could access your content on a whim. Another thing that is a really neat feature is if you have HDR content, in particular HDR10 content, so it's high dynamic range, and you are trying to see it on a display that does not support HDR. So for example, I have my cinema projector is not an HDR projector. I'm very happy with it, but it doesn't support HDR. When you play on the Nvidia Shield TV through Plex, it will convert that HDR image to an SDR image that your display will understand. It will look decent doing it too. I really like that the Nvidia Shield TV Pro, because it has a Tegra processor, which is a high-performance mobile processor, it can serve 4K HDR movies without a hitch. In fact, this is why I'm also going to highlight its 1 gigabit per second Ethernet port. So there's a little bit of a backstory here. So I have a cloud server in my home. I've been very happy with it. I've got a lot of storage on it, and I have a Plex. I've tried to set up a Plex server on my cloud storage. The thing is, the cloud storage does not have as high a performance processor as the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. So if I try to get content from my cloud server, what could happen is the content could be choppy. So if it's above a certain resolution, or if there's too much information going through, it can't necessarily process it fast enough, and I get choppy quality, or it may not work at all. Now, a cool thing that the Nvidia Shield TV Pro can do is that because it's on your network, it's helpful if you take advantage of the wired connection, because that's the fastest and most reliable throughput. It could link to your cloud resource on the network, get the content from your cloud, transfer it to the Shield, and the Shield is responsible for disseminating your content to your devices in your home, or possibly, to the devices in your home. So this way, you're able to take advantage of the performance of the Nvidia Shield TV Pro and still benefit from the devices and the storage you have in your home. And that was, I know for me, it was very helpful. Or if you don't have a cloud storage already, as I do, then you can, as I said, you could connect external hard drives to the USB ports on the Shield TV Pro, and your Shield becomes a Plex server. And very helpful. Another thing, if you don't want to go the Plex route, you can make, like I find I could use the Nvidia Shield TV Pro for file storage. So you have external hard drives connected to the Shield, and you could store your files there for backup and so on. So really innovative things you could do with the Nvidia Shield TV Pro that you can't do with a traditional streaming card. Now, I think I acknowledged it a little bit earlier. It does have a 1080p upscaling feature. Okay, through the magic of artificial intelligence, it will take fewer pixels and make them look like you've got a lot more pixels and make for a sharper image on your 4K display. Now, what's cool about this, as I've described it, it's already very cool. You don't have to limit yourself just to movies and video content. This could work with streamed video games as well. So you could have a 1080p game and viewing it on your Shield TV, and it gets upscaled to a full 4K image as well. Now, again, I'm a little tongue-in-cheek. The magic of artificial intelligence. It's not necessarily perfect, but it gets positive reviews. As far as gaming's concerned, okay, so the Nvidia Shield TV Pro does a lot, as I've described. It does the movies, it does the audio, fantastic. Cloud, Plex, the whole thing. Let's talk about gaming. So first off, from a gaming point of view, I was able to connect all my peripherals, okay? So I was able to connect, now this is a wireless keyboard, but the thing is, it's not a Bluetooth keyboard. So I was able to connect this through its USB connector. So this is a Rapu keyboard. I was able to connect my Corsair K68 RGB keyboard. I have a wireless gaming mouse I was able to connect no problem. This is an older generation Xbox controller. It's not Bluetooth. Okay, so what I had to do, I connected this by cable to the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. I was able to connect the USB hub. So a hub is basically, it's a single USB connector that goes into the Nvidia Shield TV Pro, but then it splits into multiple USB connectors. And I was able to get that working with the Shield TV, which I thought was really cool. It will connect with Bluetooth devices, so headphones, game controllers, keyboards, anything Bluetooth compliant. I was even able, I guess I'll show you a picture of it because it's big. I was even able to connect my VKB Sim Gladiator NXT flight stick, which is, talk about that on a later episode. But all the same, everything I wanted to connect to the Shield, I was able to connect. Though that's not a guarantee. I mean, you have to try for yourself which peripherals will work. But I was pleasantly surprised that everything worked as well as it did. Now, as far as services are concerned, I tested the Nvidia Shield TV Pro first with Google Stadia. Okay, I was able to get a trial of the Pro edition of Google Stadia. It supports 4K resolution, which is good. I thought it worked really well on the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. There was no latency that I could see. Okay, I was very pleased. I mean, to put this in mind, if you compare it to a full-fledged local gaming PC, with ray tracing, I mean, you have to have realistic expectations. But from a cloud gaming point of view, I was really happy with what I saw. It's very formidable service. Now, what did surprise me was that when I used Google Stadia through Chromecast with Google TV, so Google solution, I was able to get surround sound no problem. When I ran Google Stadia through the Nvidia Shield TV Pro, it looked great. The interaction was fantastic. I was actually able to play the games with my gaming peripherals. I didn't have anything that was really compatible with the Google solution. That's my fault, not theirs. It's just I didn't have anything compatible with their streaming solution. But I couldn't get surround sound to work, and that didn't make any sense to me because it's a Google application, not an Nvidia-based application. So maybe at a later edition of the Google Stadia on Nvidia Shield TV, it will support surround sound, but it's not there yet. So just be aware of that expectation. Another thing is when you're setting up Google Stadia for the first time, you will need to have your smartphone in the vicinity. It's not something you can do 100% through the Shield TV. You need your smartphone nearby to get things working. But all in all, I was very impressed that Google Stadia ran as well as it did on the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. Another thing I tried was a service by Valve called Steam Link. Okay, now this is something that is enabled through Nvidia's Games app. Okay, so Nvidia's Games app is kind of from what I can tell, it's kind of a hybrid service. It supports their own NVIDIA GeForce Now cloud platform, which means that 100% of the content is coming from the cloud. And then the second option is it's a service called Steam Link by Valve. And the idea is that your local gaming PC is responsible for all the work. So you could have like a powerful NVIDIA-based PC, okay? And what happens is it will stream within your local network to the Nvidia Shield TV Pro, and you'll be able to play it on the screen that your Pro is connected to, along with whatever peripherals you have directly connected to the Nvidia Shield TV. Now, my experience with it, there were a handful of games that worked well or really well. Like it was like, wow, this is a great proof of concept. This is, that's pretty cool that you could do that. But then there was a whole lot that I couldn't get working at all, or it was extremely laggy. It was very frustrating. And that's one area I just can't recommend using. Okay, it's just that, I mean, maybe if you could get something to work, I mean, you might pull out some hair getting it to work, but I think that there were other options that worked out better when it came to gaming on the Nvidia Shield TV Pro. But again, it's a very good proof of concept. It's just not where, I don't think it's where it needs to be just yet. Now, that said, Nvidia GeForce Now. This is the cloud, Nvidia's cloud platform. I tested the free version, okay? So that means that it's 1080p gaming. I thought it worked really well. Games looked great. I didn't have any noticeable latency. Something to be aware of, though, especially with the free version, is you could be prone to waiting lists. So you may be ready to play, and then, like, I had an experience where it said I had 75 gamers ahead of me. That's actually, it looks more threatening than it is, because in practice, that could clear out in like 5 minutes or so. I had one instance where it was longer than that, but usually that number counts down very quickly. But I did contact Nvidia about this. They do have a higher tier service called the RTX 3080 tier, or you can actually pay, there's middle grounds tiers as well. And when you go on a paid service with Nvidia, you're able to use more hours at a time. Like, your session length could be longer when you're playing video games. They have limits as to how long you could play a game through cloud streaming. But the point I want to make, though, is you're on a higher priority. So you're more likely to be at the top of the queue versus at the bottom of the queue. And I'm told that it should take no longer than about 5 minutes to get into your game of choice. Now, something that I did struggle with, I mentioned that the application, the NVIDIA Games application, is a hybrid between NVIDIA GeForce Now and the Steam Link, okay, where you stream locally from the cloud from your gaming PC. I had difficulty singling out the games that were NVIDIA GeForce Now versus the Steam Link. One worked really well. The other one, for me, not so much. And I just think the interface could be a bit better, that it's really delineated apart much better, and that confusion doesn't happen. And it's far easier to get the games I want to play from where I want to play them. Okay? So that would be helpful. Another thing is that I had the free version of NVIDIA GeForce Now running, okay, so limited resolution, but also the surround sound wasn't working. I wasn't getting 5.1, I was only getting stereo. And the way to get surround sound working on the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro with NVIDIA GeForce Now is, according to NVIDIA, you have to have the RTX 3080 tier. So it's their top tier that you're able to get surround sound working on the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro with their gaming solution. But again, if you've got the surround sound, you want to use it, so that's the way to go. So some concluding points. Okay, this is, in my opinion, I mean, the other streaming solutions, they're all excellent. I mean, for $50 or less, you can't go wrong. But if you've got some extra money, any extra resources to work from, this is definitely, the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro is definitely the most capable of the streaming solutions I've tested so far. I see it more as a multi-purpose computer than I do a streaming. Like, streaming is one of the things it does, but I see it as being capable of more. The USB connectors and the Ethernet connector, the 1 gigabit per second Ethernet connector, that was those were major advantages for the Shield TV Pro, because it expanded what I could do with the solution. I think that the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro, it's very useful as a home-based cloud server. I'm not sure if you could actually expose it outside your home. I really don't know enough about the security, but for at-home use, I thought it was very helpful if you don't already have a cloud server. I really like the way that they implemented Plex as a server and as a streaming solution on the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro. What I really liked, not just that it could be a server in itself, that it enhanced my pre-existing equipment in my home. That using the processing power of the Nvidia Shield TV Pro, I was able to do more with what I already had installed in my home, and that was a real standout feature for me. If you have displays that are not HDR compliant, like mine, it does have HDR to SDR conversion, which I think is a standout feature, especially within, well, it's within the Plex, so that's a helpful feature. If you're going to game on the Nvidia Shield TV Pro, Nvidia GeForce Now and Google Stadia come highly recommended. Okay, it does a really good job. And again, with those USB connectors on the Shield TV Pro, it was very easy to connect my gaming devices and have those devices understood by the Nvidia's solution. Number one reason to get this, though, if you have a Dolby Atmos system like myself, and you want to make sure that your system is used and that money hasn't gone to waste, the Nvidia Shield TV Pro is, with the exception of Google's solution, is the only other solution I would recommend, that because it supports most of the content providers, or most of the content providers, I should say, support Dolby Atmos through Nvidia's Shield TV Pro. And as far as the remote control, it does get some getting used to because of the way the buttons are designed, but it's very advanced. Again, easy to find if it gets lost. The buttons light up if you're in a dark room with a projector. Good product. And that's pretty much it, right? So anyway, thank you for joining me in my messy basement. I'm looking forward to testing and reviewing other toys that add to our immersion and our home entertainment experience. So thank you again. This is Neil Schneider. Thank you for joining me in my messy basement.